away.
We're wanted men.
I have spoken.
Jason, how was your New Year's?
Uneventful. I just smoked a cigar and went to bed.
Hey, you got a cigar in. I hung out. We went and had Mexican food with a bunch of with family and friends, and was in bed by 11, and then heard all the fireworks go off at midnight, and we're like, "Happy New Year!"
I heard the fireworks leading up to midnight, but I didn't hear anything at midnight. So, I mean, it always sounds like a war zone.
Oh my God, dude, it was crazy war zone that at our neighborhood. I don't know why, but wasn't bad. I don't know. It was scary. My dog was a little scared, but
Oh,
she
poor
did all
puppy.
right. Yeah, she did fine.
Poor puppers.
Poor puppers. How's your week been?
This past week was uneventful, and that's always a good thing. Let's see, what did I pick up this week? Oh, I did find Lando, the vintage collection Lando at Target, and I bought one,
Mhm.
but I got to remember to cancel my Hasbro one, so I got to make a note of that. I don't
I
need
never-
two peg warmers.
Right, exactly. I never know how to cancel all my Hasbro pros, so I just wait patiently for them.
And then I did go up to that retro, what's it called? Retro shop
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
up in Canton. And they had a lot of micro machines, a lot of good box stuff. And the boxes were in good condition, which is tough to see. Some of them looked like minty fresh.
Yeah.
But I did pick up the gold Imperial shuttle with that gold Imperial symbol set that I didn't have. It was $40. And then if I went on eBay, it'd be $40. So I picked that up.
Cool. Is that all you got?
And then on Deal or No Deal, I got more prototype micro machines.
Well, I'm talking about at the shop.
No, that's all I got at the shop.
Yeah, I was pretty. That was a pretty decent run for me. Did you go through the lot of Star Wars stuff that they picked up, or you didn't ask?
I didn't ask. I just assumed what they had on the table was that lot.
No, they had 2 totes full of like oddball stuff.
Oh,
They had a torture chamber and something else. They had a boxed X-wing, but it that had been untaped. But I guess it's so old that the tape resealed. But you could shake it, and you could tell there was not the X-wing was in there, but you weren't. There was no inserts or anything because you could hear the X-wing rattling around.
yeah.
And I didn't want to untape it to look at it. But I think they would have been all right with me doing that. But
How did you know about the totes? Did you ask? Is this all you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Always ask, hey, you guys got any more stuff? Oh yeah, we got this new lot in, and the next thing you know, they're digging it out for me to dig through.
Gotcha.
And then as I'm digging through it, I saw the 2 rump mugs in boxes, and I was like, how much for these? And she told me, and I like almost grabbed them and ran out the store. So I was at that point, I was like, make a pile, I'll make up for you giving me the wrong price on these. So
What wrong price?
like too good of a price. I basically paid
Oh, that
for
price.
both of them what I should have paid for one of them,
Gotcha.
especially with them having the box and the hang tag. Well, the Ben Kenobi had the hang tag, the Darth Vader didn't. And the Darth Vader, somebody painted it for some reason. They painted
The mouth.
the mouth and the 2 pointers on it, and then the bottom.
Yep.
And I have no clue why somebody would have done that.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I picked up a frisbee and an unused toothbrush, Ewok toothbrush, and a watch, an LCD watch, just because it's a watch. They had the Darth Vader lives, the button that they spelled
Yes.
Vader with an A. They had a T-shirt
Yes.
like that, like an old school
Oh.
T-shirt, but it was so worn. The kid obviously loved it, but where the hell am I going to display a T-shirt?
They have T-shirt frames.
Yeah, I guess I could have done that, but you've seen my walls?
I know you don't have any space.
It's got to be very cool. I should have.
You should frame out a new wall and just put it in the middle of the room.
That would be
You could do that
Amazingly.
right behind the Bill and but then you would want to put the Bill and Ted stuff there.
Yeah, I don't. I've thought about. My wife's talked to me about like hanging stuff from the ceiling, like making a
Yeah.
break right there and hanging it from
Yeah.
the ceiling. But I don't know. We got big plans if we can ever get around to it. I don't know. We've been talking 5 to 10 years out. And I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen or not. I guess we'll see if, prices keep going the way they're going as far as how home prices. We'll have it done in a year.
Yeah, home prices are crazy.
Yeah.
And collecting prices are crazy.
Everything's crazy.
Nothing's going down. Everything's going up.
right.
Even milk is going up. It's like,
Jeez. Yeah. You used to be able to buy it for like $1.50 at Walmart. Now I think it's gone up to like $3. It's been a minute since I paid attention.
yeah, me too. I just buy the milk.
Yeah. I did. I got my Amazon shirt in.
Which one did you get?
It's the same one you got with
Same one, the Book of Boba.
Book of Boba. I did that. I didn't get yelled at, so we'll see what happens. See if she even notices.
Maybe it's month 2 that you get in trouble.
Yeah, maybe. What else did I pick up? I did Hallmark had the ornaments.
Oh yeah, I did that
50%
too.
off.
Yeah.
So you were all excited because I got the tree topper and I got the little house that sings. And you were all excited because you got the last Book of Boba Fett ornament. And then when I went to the one in Kennesaw, they had like 30 of them.
Of course.
There were so many. It was like
I should have went to that one because
Yeah.
that's right next door. I just didn't want to deal with Ernest Bear Parkway.
Right. I don't blame you. It's not bad. It was.
Did they have a lot?
Yeah, they had a lot. They had a lot of
Damn.
stuff. I was surprised that they had that many Book of Bobas because when I got mine, I normally do the pre-order, and it looked like they didn't have any on the shelf when I picked mine up. So maybe they ordered way too much, or that's a clearinghouse for other
Yeah.
stores. But maybe it'll be worth because
No, Harrison
Yeah.
wanted the Super Nintendo one, and they didn't have that up there. So I'm like, maybe we should have gone to the Kennesaw one.
Yeah. And I bought the Bubba. If you want if you were looking for the Darth Vader version this year, Darth Vader, I bought one and I already had it.
Oh, okay, I'll buy it off. Yeah,
Yeah. So
sure.
yeah, I'll sell it to you for what I got in it. $10. I was like
Sure,
$10.
I'll buy it
I'll
for-
grab it.
I'll
But
buy it for $10.
The house is really cool because, well, the number one, the Death Star, the tree topper, you press the button and it sings. And apparently they made another round of ornaments that go with it. And the lady was like, they made more ornaments that storytellers. I'm like, you got me on the ships. I can't do it again on the people, $40 a pop on an ornament just to watch it be annoying for 10 minutes. I can't do. But the
Cut
house
to
is really,
6 months later. I found it.
yeah, I'll be like, I found it from 75% off. But the house is really cool because you hit the button and it does a light show with the Imperial theme, with the Star Wars theme. So
It's
That's a
a
little bit-
house?
yeah, it's a little bitty. It's about that big, about 2 inches, 3 inches big.
And it looks like a house?
Yes, with the
Uh,
Death Star on it and lights and stuff. You
Uh-huh.
gotta plug it in. It's not battery operated. And then when I got it home, I realized why it's not battery operated
Oh.
because it's
I
got a
don't
whole bunch
remember
of crap
seeing
to
that
it.
at all this year.
I'll have to show it to you. What else? Oh, and then I went down for full circle. It's funny because we got accounts down in Noonan for work,
Yeah.
and they know if I go down to Noonan, I go down to full circle. And of course, my branch manager's like, "You gonna go to the toy shop?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm going to the toy shop." So they had a couple of sealed micro collections. I picked up another the gantry, the Besman gantry.
That's where you got it from. Cool.
Yes.
Good shape, the box?
Yeah, it's in pretty good shape. It is. Yeah. I can't
Can I
complain.
ask what the going rate is on something like that?
I paid $100 for it, which I thought was sealed. They're going between anywhere from 100 to 200, depending on which one it is and where you buy it from.
That's kind of shocking because I would have assumed vintage something like that would be more than $100. I would assume 3 to 5.
Right. Well, the bigger ones are the freezing chamber. She had that one.
Yeah.
It was like $200, and it had the pop missing, which I couldn't spend $200 on it with the pop missing.
Right.
Or I couldn't spend $200 right then. Maybe in a month I could spend another $200, or when I'm bound down there next time if it's still there. But I guess we'll see.
I guess so.
Yeah. Got to save up for everything.
A celebration this year.
Celebration.
It's 2022. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah. My wife, I was talking to her about celebration because Narayan's got us in for a club table for the club. And she's like, if you got a club table, just effing go. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, we'll find out in 2 months.
Okay. Right when everything goes up. Actually,
Yeah.
I'd probably rather spend the extra money and know that we're going versus, getting an unrefundable plane ticket, which suck if it didn't work out.
Yeah, we got to make sure it's transferable.
Right. Because I think you could transfer it up to a year for some of these people, but then if you want like a refundable one, it's like another $100.
And it's just a pain in the tailpipe to try to get a refund from these people. It's aggravating as hell, and I'm just like, maybe it's worth $100 just to get the transferable ticket.
Yeah, or the cancelable one or whatever. But
no questions asked.
Yeah, and it's funny because I got a friend that goes out to NAM, which is in that same complex, and he's like, "Oh yeah," because we talked about going. You're like, "Don't go to LAX, go to John Wayne," and he's like, "Dude, LAX is great." I'm like, "It's 45 minutes away." It's like, I fly into LAX all the time. Well, you could afford a rental car and 45 minutes and he's like, everything's 45 minutes in LA.
That's not my concern. My concern is like, I don't need a rental car.
Right.
Because you can't park it at the convention center. And my hotel is like a 20-minute walk. And I think that's an okay area. Like, I don't think I should be concerned or anything like that. But because it's only like 3 blocks away. It's just a 20-minute walk.
Yeah, I think that's not going to be too bad. I don't know. I want to do Disney. If I go, I wanted to go to Disneyland. My number one, my number two, probably go to Celebration a day or two and then a day at Disneyland. But you talk to Narayan and he's like, I've got the whole week planned beforehand and I'm going to go to Disneyland and I'm going to spend 12 hours a day at Celebration and then another 12 hours. The other 12 hours I'm going to spend a party at night and I'm not getting any sleep. And
that's yeah. So it's a couple of things. Like, first of all, with Disneyland, I don't know if I can do Disneyland without my wife because we're big Disney fans, and neither of us have done Disneyland. Can I really do that? Like, go to Disneyland without her? And I don't know. That's a discussion for another time. Secondly, I know now that I can't sleep. However, I have to sleep.
It's the truth, right?
I have to sleep. If I don't get my 8 hours, I become crabby. I become tired. I become delirious. I lose my brain.
Right.
But you can't sleep because I almost missed out on Micro Machines. Had Narayan and Mark not been up that night to see those Micro Machines, I would have missed out because I went to bed.
Right. You just got to see, man. If
suck it up.
Yeah, if it's a room sale, you got to suck it up. But
I guess the first thing I do when I get to LA is to try to find a shop and get some sort of energy drink or something or other. I don't know.
You'll need
maybe get like the Starbucks coffee that gets refrigerated and just pop that at 9 o'clock at night and say, okay, let's do this.
Right. I don't know, but it's a marathon, dude. It is a marathon. Yeah.
So it's Celebration, and hopefully I can make it. Hopefully with the pandemic, maybe it's going to die down. Who knows? But the annual up in New York.
When's that?
Too. We don't know yet.
Okay.
There hasn't been a date. They're playing it by ear because of the pandemic.
Gotcha.
Although I was listening, I'm not a doctor. This is not advice from a doctor, and I'm going to start this sentence by saying I was listening to a doctor on YouTube. So with that filter in mind, he was pretty optimistic that come summer and fall, things will be less and more like in the past, and this wave will kind of crest and come down. Yeah. We'll see if that actually happens. But if it plays out that way, then hopefully second half of the year, I'm in New York, back in Syracuse for the annual, making it happen.
Yeah. See, I've got Celebration. There's Cincinnati. I want to go back down to Orlando.
You're going to New Orleans.
I got a New Orleans trip. So I've got to,
Nolans.
huh?
Nolans.
Nolans. I gotta really pay attention to my trips this year. I don't think I'll be taking a full week off because there's so many trips I want to take. I'll be like taking long weekends all year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
There was one last goal that I forgot about.
Uh-huh.
I said at the beginning of the year, and I didn't get around to doing it until what, 2 days ago. So 2 days left of the year, I finally accomplished this one goal, which was to add lights around my collection,
Look.
which is great for an audio thing. So I'll
Yeah.
have to throw this up on Facebook. But yeah, I added LED lights around the action figures behind me to kind of help bring out the because it's kind of in a dark corner. So with this
Right.
light here, you can kind of see the Power of the Force stuff, and then I have episode 3 in the other corner, and I have the ability to change colors and all that fun stuff. But the colors
Yeah.
aren't changing right now.
There you go.
There's red.
Ooh.
Probably don't recognize the room anymore because of the red lights, right?
Right. But up bunch.
There's yellow. So I did some quick research after I put the lights up, and it said that their LED does create some UV light, and I don't know what the measurement is, and I don't know how much. So I think the lights are only going to be on when I got people in the room. For the most
Right.
part, they'll be off. So it'll be very minimal, and maybe for an hour or two, maybe 3 times a year, like when people come over. I
Right.
don't think I'll be doing it that much, just because of that risk. I don't want to risk destroying my action figures because of LED lights.
Right. Oh, I did. Speaking of just yeah, right now we're maintaining our collections. I did pick up some of the stands, the acrylic steppers or whatever from Amazon, and added that. It's funny how nice little piece of acrylic makes your collection that much better.
Yeah, it kind of elevates it, museum quality.
Yeah. I got a couple of different, I think I got like 6 and 12 of them. So I'm going to slowly keep adding them because they're only like one set I bought was like $13. The other set was like 15. So I think I'm like once a month I'll order some and just kind of add them in.
So you're going to put them back where your Legos are and create.
Yeah, I already did that. That's where I threw them in.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I threw some in my Legos. I threw some in my Galactic Hero prototypes. I threw some in my micro collection stuff, like the box micro collection stuff. I elevated it a little bit, and you're able to put the ships up underneath them. Yeah, so I have to probably throw some more in the micro collection once I get some more.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah, because I guess you could put 2 together and put a big play set on it, and put the people underneath it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It'll look nice.
Yeah.
Kind of fast.
Now it's party time in Jason's house.
Yeah, it's kind of. I'm playing with the lights right now, and the lights are changing colors faster than I intended. I thought it would be like a smoother transition than this because it's just going straight from red to green to blue.
Yeah, it's pretty
to white,
fast.
to yellow.
See, mine will. Wow.
Come on, slow down.
I don't know if you can get it to slow down.
It's fading. They're strobing. I don't want strobes. Oh well.
See, mine will do that
with yours.
Yeah, mine will do that too, but it's not. See, it'll do like a, but yeah, do a heartbeat and all kinds of crazy stuff. But
yeah, it's like a haunted house kind of effect with that strobe light.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Riveting podcasting.
Yeah, the other thing that kind of concerned me installing the lights, you have the ability to like connect it through Bluetooth.
Nice.
And so I was going to try that, but then it started saying we want to connect to every device on this network. I'm like, what? I just want to turn the lights on with my phone. I don't want some company that I'm not aware of what they are, who they are, where they're from, connecting to every device in my house. I just want to turn lights on with my phone.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm out. Forget it. The remote's fine.
Yeah. Oh, we do have a little bit of sad news to announce.
Okay.
Betty White passed.
Betty White passed away.
I was at the store yesterday. I was trying to look something up on my phone, and news popped up, and it said Betty White passed. I was like, oh no, I had to look it up for sure. So
Yeah, she was
99.
almost to 100. But somebody did some math and said if you discount the leap year, she makes it past 100 by 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yep. Oh, and our buddy Josh Duhamel, I just see it right now. Well, it was announced last night, but he's going to be King of Bacchus this year. For
Josh
Mardi Gras.
Duhamel
Yeah.
from Transformers.
Josh Duhamel from Cobb. Oh, shit. Never mind. That's not who I thought it was. Never mind.
Who
I
is
get
it?
him and Timothy Olaf confused.
Oliphant.
Oliphant confused because he looks just like him.
They do. They look similar.
Well, never mind then. I thought it was Cobb Vanth. I was like, wow, Cobb Vanth's going to be King of Bacchus, but it's not Cobb
Nah,
Vanth.
it's the dude from Transformers. He was married to Fergie for a while too.
Oh yeah.
He's also the one that beat out. There was like a male modeling show.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was the same year that he got first place and Ashton Kutcher got second place. He beat Ashton Kutcher in the modeling. This is before they were stars too.
It's yeah, those are funny when that happens, when they pop in the like Star Search and it's Beyonce.
Right. Years ago.
Like when she was 12.
But yeah, it was kind of a slow week in Star Wars, unrelated to the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, there's not much. I mean, I hit a couple Walmarts. There's a lot of Lando General Black Series peg warming. There's a lot of vintage collection Lando peg warming.
Uh-huh.
And I think in both cases that those Landos were double packed. So there was quite a few of those. I did hit one Target that had Ara Singh Black Series, TAC Black Series. What's his name? Zero from the Mandalorian, that robot?
Yeah.
The droid. He was there, but I already had them.
Tick.
So
yeah, you want to get into it? Do you want to give our impressions, or do you want to do the synopsis and then the impressions?
we can do either way. I mean, we can do this. Let's do this synopsis.
Okay.
And that way we don't frame the conversation with I didn't like it if that's the case.
All right. Let's do the synopsis.
So
all right. So
synopsis or play-by-play?
Play whichever. However you play by place. I was trying to make it sound cool when I said synopsis, but
okay. Sorry.
Play by play.
Yeah, we'll be talking spoilers, full spoilers for the Book of Boba Fett. So if you haven't seen Chapter 1, A Stranger in a Strange Land, this is the way.
Bye.
Bye. Listen to us when you finish the episode.
And we're back.
I just got a pop up for installing the update to Flash, and I'm like, why do we still have Flash? Anyway, sorry. I'm back. Book of Boba Fett.
Because you tried loading your lights on your phone, and it's like, we need Flash.
Right. And so we go back to the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 1, A Stranger in a Strange Land, directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Jon Favreau.
Yes.
We open on Jabba's palace, where we see some very familiar imagery before we turn to a back-to-pod, and Boba Fett is there recovering from, I guess, years of wear and tear. However, I think this was Brian Emery that pointed out in our Facebook group, we saw Boba be a badass in The Mandalorian and didn't need to recover.
Ding, 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 ding.
Anyways, we do see a flashback of Kamino and the aftermath from the arena battle from Attack of the Clones. So I guess that's a Daniel Logan cameo.
I think so.
But
I would say it's a Logan cameo, even though it's from like 20 years ago.
But then we cut to the belly of the Sarlacc, which I guess is still alive because we can hear a thump, thump, thump in the background, almost like a heartbeat. But when we kind of cut to the top again, the tentacles are down. So I wasn't sure like what was going on. Maybe the Sarlacc is weakened and ready to die. But there's a stormtrooper down there, and Boba uses the stormtrooper. It would have been cool at this point to see like a Weequay or two kind of hanging out down there, but I mean, we
Well,
don't
at
know
least
how.
go ahead. Go ahead. No, do it. Do it.
Jump
Do it.
in.
Do it. Or no, well, yeah. More well, I was or at least they're skeletons, as I was gonna say, but
Yeah,
I think
we
you were
don't know
making
how
the
long
point.
they've been down there. It could have been that. So the stormtrooper's body was pretty, like the armor itself was pretty beat up,
Right.
and the acid from the belly had kind of tore through some of the armor. But since he's got Beskar, I don't think Boba Fett has suffered the same fate yet.
Yeah. I was kind of curious how a stormtrooper was down there, but apparently so I read something that they were saying, well, maybe Jabba didn't like the Empire, or there was some other stuff that happened with Jabba and the Empire. So that's why
I
the
like that.
Empire's kind of not messing with Jabba. And he threw a few stormtroopers down there.
I like that.
And I didn't know that the stormtroopers had breathing devices in their helmets.
I would imagine so, because there's that one shot in A New Hope where they're kind of standing outside the Death Star, watching the Millennium Falcon get pulled in.
Okay. Or I figured they would be in like a force field or something.
Yeah, who knows? But
Yeah,
apparently they do.
Yeah.
Accept the new canon and move on.
Damn it, John Favreau.
And we see a flamethrower that Boba has on his arm, used to burn a hole in the side of the sarlacc, and then he crawls out of his belly exhausted, and he's covered in slime and sand, and that makes perfect deco for another action figure.
I do have something to say about this. It was uneventful for me. I think they probably could have almost made a whole episode out of Bubba escaping the Sarlacc pit, or expanded it, at least through the whole episode. But I kind of throw it in the same vein as the Kessel run in Solo, because you imagine this for years, 20, 30 years, 30, 40 years sometimes, and it's over in 2 minutes.
Yeah, let's let's sprinkle in our opinion as we go here, because I kind of felt like it was okay. Yeah, that's pretty much how I imagined it.
Yeah. Oh, I thought
good.
it was. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine the way they did it, but they could have made it last about 15 minutes longer.
It was anticlimactic, because it's basically what we all assumed, that he had flamethrowers, that he's got all these little gadgets in his arms, and somehow he got his way out of the belly.
Yeah. But I did kind of like it felt like there was a throwback when his arm popped out of the sand, because I have seen like that t-shirt. So, or maybe like Evil Dead or something. It was, it felt like that was a throwback to something.
I also like that it's a direct sequel to something we've seen in Return of the Jedi, and not just a sequel like The Force Awakens in that sense, but like days after the thing that we've watched for 40 years. It's like a direct sequel to the Sarlacc aftermath.
Right.
And I love that. I love seeing the wreckage. I love seeing the Sarlacc again.
It was I mean, all in all, I was happy with it. You did not see, I don't remember seeing like the head of the Sarlacc.
Like I said, the tentacles were kind of flopped down.
Okay.
They weren't moving. Maybe the Sarlacc was sleeping because it knew there was nothing up there to be fed to.
Okay.
So nothing was feeding it, so it's like, I'm not going to waste my time with the tentacles. Who knows?
Boba Fett could have killed it. I don't know.
But yeah, Boba gets out, and the sail barge is there. It's not smoking, so I would assume it's, I don't know, maybe a week later, if that.
Yeah.
Boba Fett is pretty beat up, because we see a sandcrawler come out, and they strip Boba of his armor, and they knock him out as he kind of tries to get awake. And so we see his face, and he's pretty scarred up, like 3rd-degree burn kind of scarred up. And then we meet a new tribe of sand people who are dressed differently than anything we've ever seen before. They're not just cookie cutter. They have different personalities and different wardrobes. And there's one that's kind of got dreadlocks, but they're not dreadlocks, but they are. We've got one that's kind of a chieftain. They capture Boba Fett. They put him in ropes, and they drag him back. All their banthas were single file. They're walking back to their camp on banthas, and Boba Fett at one point gets tired and is dragged behind. From there, we cut to the title screen and we see the Book of Boba Fett logo come up on screen, and then Boba is being prodded by a little child Tusken, and more kids come in and they taunt him, and the chieftain kind of looks on and doesn't do anything to interrupt the action. One of my first things I saw when I saw these Tuskens was their huts were different than what we saw in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And the because when the sand people find Boba, it's in a sandstorm. That's all happening during a sandstorm.
Yeah.
So do they make that sandstorm deleted scene canon now, or where does that fall into the timeline? How long does the sandstorm normally last?
Yeah, I would assume not the same sandstorm, just because Selbarge was not smoking. And so I would assume that Lando and Han and Luke, they just got off world as soon as they could. I don't think they would hang out for a week.
Right.
But that's my assumption. So.
And you know what happens when you assume.
Yep, I'm right. There's a jump and we're at night. One of the dog creatures, which is a massive from Attack of the Clones. We've seen it in Attack of the Clones and on previous episodes of The Mandalorian. It's kind of watching Boba Fett. There's now a Rodian prisoner there as well. Boba tries cutting himself free, and the dog creature approaches the massive. Boba kind of knocks it out with his hands, with his elbows, and he uses the creature's teeth to saw the rope, and he breaks free. Boba offers to cut the bonds of the Rodian, and the Rodian sounds an alarm. Boba runs into the darkness, trying to get away from the camp, but the Tuskens chased after him. Boba did have an opportunity to kill the child before he runs, because the child Tusken comes running out, but he doesn't. Instead, he takes off. And then the adult Tuskens track him down, and they pit him against the one with the dreadlocks. Again, kind of making him feel like a predator from the movie Predator.
Okay.
But Boba loses and is knocked out. What'd you think of that scene?
I thought that scene was cool. It was there to get another side of the sand people that we've never seen before. I really dug seeing the chieftain and the hierarchy of the sand people.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And I felt kind of bad for Boba because all he had was a stick. But maybe that's what he learned, that not help people, or because the Rodlian, whatever, the Greedo looking guy, he tried helping him and he just sounds an alarm. And right. It kind of falls through the whole episode, which we'll get to in a minute. How he tries saving him, but the guy doesn't want to be saved.
Right. So after he's knocked out, Fennec wakes him up in the modern timeline, and by modern I mean the Mandalorian timeline. 2-3 years later? We're not exactly sure how many years later.
Right.
But it is somewhere in that range, and he looks much better than we last saw him. He doesn't have that third-degree burns. He does have some scarring, but it's not as bad. So that back to pod is definitely healing him. Yeah. Boba comments the dreams are back.
I dig how they're going to do the flashbacks. If that's the way they're going to do flashbacks in this episode, in this season, that's a good way to do it, because you'll know when he's in Bacta, it's going to be a flashback.
Yes. And I kind of took that to mean that the character is facing something similar to before. So he had dreams at one point, then he lost them because he found himself again. Mm-hmm. Now he's back in this new role that he hasn't been to. He's not a bounty hunter anymore. He's stripped down in both situations. He's not himself, and he's building himself back up.
Yeah.
So that's where I think A Stranger in a Strange Land comes in, because the title of this episode, because he's a stranger in the sense that he's not a bounty hunter anymore. He's lost in the desert. He's a prisoner to Tuskens. And then in the modern timeline, he's a stranger because he's assumed a role that he's never held before. He's never held, as far as we know, he's never held a role of power. He's always been a gun for hire. And so he's a stranger in that sense, that he's never held this position of power before.
I just want to know if they're going to name all these episodes after Iron Maiden songs.
No. I would assume not.
Because that's the first thing I thought of when I heard that. I was like, the Iron Maiden song came to my head.
No, I thought it was a very westerny title.
I think that you're right. And then I thought the music they're carrying over the whole Mandalorian feel to this episode or this show.
Yeah, the title itself, the main theme, has been composed by the same composer of The Mandalorian, Ludwig.
Right.
I'm not going to attempt his name out of memory. But the music was conducted by someone else.
Okay. But it had the same feel to it.
Yeah, so he wrote the music, but somebody else conducted it. Kind of like in Solo, John Williams wrote a theme for Han Solo, but John Powell directed it or composed it and conducted it.
Gotcha.
So moving on, Boba Fett gets suited up, and I have to say that I'm really digging his deco.
Yes.
He's modern, he's black. The jumpsuit's black underneath. He's got his darker green armor, and I like the highlight of the burnt orange on his knee pads and his shoulder pads. I don't know, they're not pads, but the shoulder armor.
Right.
I'm really digging that. What do you think about that change?
I do like it. Because I like black, and I think it's just a different feel. I dig this setup more than I do his original armor, just because it's black. It's a different. I don't even know if it's a flight suit on this guy. I think it's all the robes or whatever that he still has left over. But yeah, I really dig this setup, this Boba Fett deco.
We cut to the throne room, and Boba's accepting tributes from people under him. We first see the torture droid from Return of the Jedi, voiced by Matt Berry, who I know from. He's from Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show.
Uh-huh.
But he also did the voice of Bubbles in the second SpongeBob SquarePants movie. He's just got a great voice, and I'm glad that they brought him back for that torture droid, who we've never heard speak before. So that's a very cool nod to the original trilogy.
Yeah. We
do see a Trans-Dojan Doc Strassi, voiced by the director Robert Rodriguez, the director of this episode. Boba comments that he once worked for Doc, so it's a weird relationship. It's kind of horrifying that they brought that Wookiee pelt.
Oh, was that a Wookiee pelt? Oh.
Yeah, that's a Wookiee pelt, and they're sentient creatures, so that's almost like bringing someone human skin as a gift.
Right.
So that's pretty horrible. But I get a sense that everybody in this scene is playing Boba for a fool, and they're just kind of appeasing him until matters are settled and they can move on to their life before Boba Fett took over. I don't know. What is your read on everybody coming in there?
Maybe a little bit. I know that the mayor definitely, he felt like the mayor's henchman, which was played by, there's a guy, I forgot what the guy's name is, but I immediately recognized the actor, and I really hope they bring that character back, because that guy had a lot of potential. But I kind of maybe. It seems like they are kind of going, especially with what happens later on in the episode. It does feel like they're trying to just test him, and it would have been cool as shit to see like somebody die at that moment. But Boba Fett's trying to be cool and not be an asshole, and I think that's going to get him in trouble.
Yeah, the character's name is Mock Shays. I think I heard that right. Mock Shays.
Okay.
Is the mayor's major Daimo?
I'll go with that.
Yeah, second in charge. I think Bib Fortuna was the same thing. He was a Daimo to Jabba the Hutt, so it's kind of like the person, maybe like a chief of staff kind of situation.
Gotcha.
Handling things, and so the mayor kind of slights Boba Fett by not showing up and sending this person instead. And to turn the tables, this guy's asking Boba Fett for a tribute, which signals that there's a power struggle here. Nobody's really taking Boba Fett that seriously. And I'll get to why I think that might be after this whole wrap up. I have a theory.
All right.
Based on some context clues, but we'll see. But yeah, so then the Gamorrean guards come out. There's two of them. And we, I struggle with these Gamorrean guards because they have such a distinct profile.
Yeah.
They're very padded and bulky. And without that armor, they seem so thin to me.
You mean like in shape then?
Yeah, and shape thin.
Yeah, I don't get why they made that decision not to have armor on those guys.
Especially now that they're kind of working for Boba Fett, I would assume that they would, go back downstairs and get their armor or something. Their head too big for the body because of it.
Right. I don't get it. I don't like the look of the new Gamorrean. I mean, I dug it when they were in the fighting ring, but now they need to put the armor back on.
Right. And so their heads seem too big for their bodies. I feel like it's all in scale. I'm sure they went back to Lucasfilm archives to find the original molds or something like that to get reference photos. But without the armor and the padding, it just seemed a little too small. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
They kind of cut to Mos Espa, where we see the Boston Dynamic dogs make a cameo. Which, do you know what those are?
No.
So there's Boston Dynamics as a company. I think it's owned by Google now that made these
robot
dogs.
Yeah.
Kind of you kick it and it kind of compensates for the loss of momentum going forward. It's moved sideways, so it kind of regains its composure and then gets back on track. It's got cameras to kind of determine if it's going uphill. I need to make this step, and whatever the situation might be. So they made a cameo, which I liked, but at the same time, I mean, that's a little too real world for me. I don't want to see something, like why not just a Tesla vehicle show up or something like that? I don't know. I didn't like that cameo, I guess. It was cool, but at the same time, not needed.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I'm like thinking now that
You're overthinking it, Jason.
yeah, probably. Like, why not just have a regular droid or a new droid we've never seen before? Why one of these? Anyways, whatever. Moving on.
I mean, I thought it was a droid. I didn't realize what they were when I saw them. So maybe they were
Yeah.
assuming that most people are just like, oh, well, new droid.
Well, maybe I shouldn't be watching it then because I know what it is. Now we go into an upscale establishment called the Sanctuary, where we see Max Rebo.
Yes.
I think.
It has to be him, man. Why
He
wouldn't
was
it
on
be
the sail
him?
barge, though.
Well, he could have walked away. Or it would have been cool if they would have showed like some scars or something.
That's what I was thinking. Why not add some scarring? I guess it's Max Rebo. If it's not, then it's his cousin.
Yeah. Or
Maybe
his
there's
twin
hope
brother.
Yeah. Maybe there's hope Salacious Crumb survived. We'll see. There's a Bith with them playing music. They're playing the Cantina theme from the original Star Wars movie, but it's a remix of that. And there's also a R5 playing drums in the background.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then one of my favorite cameos, Rex was there from Star Tours. He was the dealer dealing poker or whatever. I don't know, whatever they're playing.
Right.
Sabak. I don't know.
They were playing some kind of card game. I thought that was
game.
one of the like a really cool callback. That.
Yeah. So it tickled me a lot to see Rex not animated, live action on screen. Like that was I need that. Go ahead, Hasbro, repaint it. Go ahead, throw it out there. I need it. We meet Madame Garcelle, I guess is her name, played by Jessica Biel, who runs the Sanctuary. Again, I feel like Boba Fett's getting played in this situation. Things are happening too easily for him. He's just walking in and they're just like, here you go. I feel like they're just buying time before something happens.
Yeah. They may be waiting for the next guy to take over. They're just like, here's another asshole. And get it, pay him off. Go
ahead.
Because they kept saying, you should have been carried here, and but I walk on my own 2 feet. So there's sort of that thing where it's definitely a background. They're setting it up to where Boba's just a normal guy. He doesn't want to be, looked at as a ruler or whatever. He just wants to be like one of the guys, but he wants to be respected, but he's not going to push his authority, I guess,
Right.
or show his power like he should.
I mean, that could also be like nobody respects him because he's not showing power.
Yeah.
Like, you need to rule with fear. You can't rule with respect, and so we're not going to respect you.
Right.
I mean, there could be some of that at play. I'm not sure.
If you're going to be nice, we're going to take advantage of you.
As Boba leaves the sanctuary, there is another Constable Zuvio cameo in the background.
Who's that?
Constable Zuvio was one of the he was released as 3.75, and he was also as a Black Series figure.
Oh, the
from
dude
the
with
Force Awakens, the dude with the big saucer on his head.
Yeah.
And he's showed up in the Mandalorian a couple times, and now he's showing up in the Book of Boba Fett. And I just think it's funny because he's getting used. He was such a joke. He was a peg warmer for the longest time.
Right.
I mean, we're talking years. Like Last Jedi, you could walk into the store and still find Constable Zuvio hanging out on store shelves. So it's cool. He's showing up still. So that's a nice inside joke. It always makes me laugh when he shows up.
And you know they're doing it on purpose.
Of course they are. Of course, because he's a peg warmer. And I did see this past week there was a live stream on the Vintage Collection Facebook page with Steve Evans, who was once the brand manager or design director or marketing person for the Star Wars team. And he did say one of the first sketches he got from The Force Awakens was Constable Zuvio, and they were saying, he's going to be a police officer of sorts, a constable of Jakku or the desert planet. It didn't have a name. And so he's like, oh, this is really cool character design. And they got into production of Constable Zuvio kind of right away. But yeah, he's kind of fizzled out. His scenes were cut. I think he's like in the movie for 4 frames. And so it's just funny to see him get pulled back into things.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that there was like 16 people live on the live stream for that Vintage Collection Facebook group when they were talking to Steve Evans. So Steve he's on Marvel now. He's not on Star Wars anymore. He's kind of moved off it, but he was talking about that first HasLab, which was the sail barge, and how it was always a joke that they can't put the sail barge into retail, but they invented the HasLab to kind of see if they can do it. They also asked for photos of people's sail barges, and so he saw mine and he liked the rebel symbol that I had over the sail barge. So it was cool. Anyways, back to Boba.
Awesome. So you said there was only 16 or people in that live chat?
It was 16 people. But they also did it like at 4:00 on a Wednesday, so people are at work.
Yeah.
It might have been just, that's when Steve was available.
Right.
But it was still cool because I did ask him, like what were some of the lessons learned from the sail barge? Because I'm obviously not going to ask about the Rancor. He did say, the TIE fighter that was the Black Series TIE fighter, it kind of failed at retail because of its size. There's not the shelf space. There's the price of it. And so they learned from that they need to stick to the figures.
Yeah.
So I would assume going forward, because of the failure of this X-Wing and the failure of the Rancor, they're going to stick to the figures and maybe the special sets. We're probably going to get the Cantina band at some point, but I think that's what they're going to be doing from now on with the Black Series.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I did ask him about lessons learned from the HasLab sail barge, and he did comment that they realized how important tiers are. So everything after that has had a tier.
Yeah.
Every HasLab after that has had tiers. And then the fear of missing out at the end. So people, yes, I want that. They jump on it, they buy it. And then towards the middle of the campaign, everything dips down. And then at the last minute, everyone's like, I'm afraid I'm going to miss out on this. I got to jump in and buy into this Kickstarter. And that's pretty much how things go. So, and then also international shipping, they realize that they have to figure that out too. So,
yeah.
Anyways, back to Book of Boba. I'm sorry for that detour.
It's all good, man. All good.
All because of Constable Zuvio. That's what he did.
That damn character.
Boba Fett is jumped. He collected a bunch of coins from the sanctuary, and he drops that. A bunch of Jawas and people in the streets kind of pick through that stuff while a gang in red jump Boba Fett with ray shields, and they have Boba and Fennec surrounded. These guys look a lot like Sub-Zero and Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, except they're wearing like a maroon color instead of the red and the yellow and blue. It's a good thing that he accepted the help from the Gamorrean guards, because they come to the rescue. With the ray shields, every time Boba would try to step forward, these guys would knock him back, and the Gamorreans come to the rescue and save the day. And Boba is weakened by the ensuing fight after defeating most of those guys, and he needs to go back to the Bacta-pod, unlike what we saw in the tragedy from the Mandalorian. I hate when they do stuff like that. The rules of one should carry over to the rules of the other.
Right. Do you think that you could become addicted to Bacta?
I think you could become addicted in the sense where people are obsessed with beauty and being young and getting plastic surgery and changing the appearance, and it's not good enough and not good enough. And so maybe that's what he is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's an interesting thought that I didn't think about.
Or maybe I'm just thinking about it now. Maybe he was just like, oh, I got my ass kicked. And instead of healing or, waiting a few hours and being better, he's like, I got to go in the Bacta tank because I can, heal in minutes.
Maybe.
Or his body's not healing without, or more that his body's not healing without the Bacta.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's possible. I haven't thought about that. It's maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the case. But then Fennec goes, because Boba Fett's weakened. He's on the ground. He actually uses one of his rockets to just blow one up. One of the guys that are climbing the building and trying to escape. He just lifts his arm and shoots a rocket and blows up half the building.
I'm surprised he didn't use his knee rocket. He should have used his knee rocket. But
yeah, right. But Fennec chases after them to bring one back to the palace, probably to make him talk. There's a big chase, and I thought this was very cinematic, the rooftop chase. It didn't feel closed off. It didn't feel like they were in what they call the void. That's the void, right? The volume, the volume. Yeah. Where they have the big screens. This felt like they were actually in Mos Espa chasing people down on rooftops. And I think this is maybe one of my favorite scenes, because Fennec really kicks butt here, and she ends up kicking one off the ceiling. Like, it was cool because one threw like a ninja star, and it was probably just a knife, and she kind of does a backflip and then just jumps off the building itself, and then she kind of cuts around the corner and flies up on top of the rooftop and cuts him off, and she kicks one off the roof, and she takes another one alive. But that's kind of it for Fennec for this episode. Boba is thrown back into the Bacta-pod, and we are cut to another flashback.
Before you go back,
I hope this doesn't. Yeah.
But did somebody grab his bucket? Did you see his bucket get grabbed?
I'm sure they got it. I'm sure it's just one of those things.
Yeah. Oh, look, we found it. All right, now go back to the flash. All right, what were you saying about the flashbacks?
I felt that the modern timeline was more interesting than what's previously happened. Maybe because we know where he goes in the end. We see him on that dune with the robes and the sniper rifle and the gaffy stick, watching over, the Mandalorian. Like, we know how it ends. So maybe that's part of the reason why I don't appreciate the flashbacks as much as the modern timeline, because the dramatic tension, in a sense, has been taken away.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Are you digging it?
I'm digging it. Because it kind of it fills in both sides of the story, because you're going to want to know how he got from point A to point B in the story. And then that'll bring up a chance that you will see Cobb Vanth again. We'll maybe see some stuff that we're not supposed to see. We're not supposed to see, but stuff that'll fill in voids for us. I'm digging it. I'm digging it because crap. Because it could even bounce back to Attack of the Clones and back to Camino and stuff, because they did hint with them showing Camino that it could bounce back that far, which it would make for a hell of a story, because I think everybody's wanting to know. I think it'll fill in, like I was saying, I'll fill in a lot of spots, and it could bounce back all the way to Camino, and then it could bounce back to Clone Wars even. You never know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Which would be awesome if they do it, because I really think, yeah, now that I'm talking it out, that's what I think they're going to do. Is they'll get him as a sand person, and then it'll go to a totally different time era for him.
We'll see. So we jump back. So Boba gets back into the back of the pod. We have another flashback. He's captured again by the Tuskens, because when we last saw him in this timeline, he was beat up and left out in the middle of the desert. The child Tusken is untying Boba. The Rodian was voiced by Sam Witwer, who has done the voice of Darth Maul, who's the face of Starkiller and The Force Unleashed. He takes him out into the desert. They travel to a homestead where a gang is terrorizing the inhabitant of this homestead. They leave graffiti on the walls, and there's questions about whose homestead this is in my mind, because it looks awfully familiar.
Yeah, I'm actually Wikipediaing it right now, because it looks totally, that's what I thought of when I first saw it. I was like, is that the Lars homestead? But
so I guess maybe Luke never went back during Return of the Jedi.
I don't know.
I mean, whenever I go back to Syracuse, I always drive by my old house. Wouldn't maybe Luke? Maybe Luke is just kind of no attachments, left it behind like a true Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that too fan servicey if it is the Lars homestead?
No, because we're on Tatooine.
Yeah, but out of all of the homesteads in the middle of the desert, why do we have to go to that one?
I don't know.
And then when we go back on the Rise of Skywalker, no one's living there.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I meant to look up the Lars homestead on Rise of Skywalker to see if there was. No, you can't see those J's that they left, or whatever that graffiti is. It's not there.
I did like that there's a new symbol, in Star Wars. That's cool whenever you bring in something like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna say it's the Lars homestead until we're told it's not.
Right.
Which maybe too fan servicey to me. I wish I could explain the sentiment that I feel, because I felt the same way when Cobb Vanth was riding Anakin's pod racer. Like, that's a little too fan servicey for me, and this homestead is a little too fan servicey for me. But
and DJ Rex dealing sabacc isn't.
No, I wish I could tell you why.
Or Max Rebo playing piano.
Maybe it's just too blatant of a wink. Like, if you've never been to Star Tours, you're not going to know who Rex is.
Our Ogas. Yeah, you're not going to know Rex.
Right. So anyways, so they go out into the sand and they start digging for pods, and they kind of look like onions, but they're kind of like coconuts where they're filled with liquid. They're filled with water. I don't know where they come from. I don't know why one would be farming for moisture if they've got these things in the ground, and you probably have some machinery that could dig it out. I had some questions there, but whatever. They start digging. The Rodian is lucky, finds one in a couple of minutes. Boba doesn't find anything, and then we kind of fade to some time has passed, and the Rodian's found another one. Boba finds one. He cracks it open. He starts drinking it, and in a power display, the Tusken child takes it and starts pouring it on the ground to feed it to the Massif. I really liked the part where Boba kind of whispers, "Keep your snout closed," and they can get us to Anchorhead to get us off world. Anchorhead obviously being referenced in A New Hope. I'm thinking the Slave One is parked there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Slave One must be parked in Anchorhead. So the Rodian is digging and finds a scaly arm in the sand. It's a creature, a 6-armed beast that kind of emerges. It looks a lot like a Ray Harryhausen movie, Clash of the Titans. What's the one?
It's Clash of the Titans. I don't know what
Kraken.
The crack. Do you think that's a total throwback?
I'm sure it is. I like the design of this character. He's got to be what, like 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
The kid Tusken is able to stab its foot, kind of injuring it. Boba takes a beating because he's still chained to the Rodians. So Boba picks the creature picks up Boba with the chain and kind of like a punching bag, just punches the Boba Fett, and Boba goes flying. It's very cool design work. I really like the face of this creature. I like the 6 arms. Boba takes the chain and chokes out the creature, very reminiscent of Leia killing
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt.
I like when all of a sudden when it starts moving and it walks on its back legs. So you've got like
Yes.
it walks on 4 legs.
Right. So it could stand on its hind legs and have 4 arms, or it can kind of fall down and use the back two pairs to walk on, and then kind of like humans have the 2 upper hands to do things with.
Yeah, it was a cool. Yeah, that character was a cool design, but it was one of those like why it was there, but I guess it goes to the storyline, feeds the storyline.
Yeah, Tatooine is not a hospitable place. It just shows more of the danger. Uncle Ben, is this Spider-Man?
It's still
Uncle Owen. Just the dangers of Tatooine with the Krayt Dragon, and then this creature and Tusken Raiders, like in gangs and huts.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous planet to live on.
I really thought that was another Krayt Dragon when they dug that thing out.
I did too. I thought it was a small one. So I'm looking forward to Obi-Wan and seeing if we can expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Boba is heroically standing on top of the carcass of this creature. The next thing we see is the child carrying the head back to camp and showing it off.
Yeah.
All the Tuskens are kind of crowding around him. And I think all the Tuskens believe that this child has killed the creature.
Yeah.
But then the chieftain kind of walks up and hands Boba some water. And by doing so, I think the chieftain realizes, that kid is not capable of doing that. It's Boba Fett that did that.
Right.
And so there's some respect given to him. Like, he is a warrior. He lost in battle to the Tusken, but he won in battle against this creature. So there's more to this person than just one battle.
Yeah, I think the only reason he got his butt kicked by that Tusken is because he wasn't ready. He was dehydrated and, just it was beaten up and didn't have a chance to recover from the sarlacc.
So from there, they cut to the credits. And a lot of people probably dipped out after they showed the concept art used to create the episode like they did in The Mandalorian. But if you stayed longer, the Boba Fett theme kind of faded away, and the Crimson Dawn theme filled in the space from Solo: A Star Wars Story. It's the first kind of, look at your face.
I didn't stay that long.
Yes, you got to go back and listen to it. I could probably pull it up on my phone if you wanted to edit out a few minutes of me kind of scrolling through the episode. But the Crimson Dawn does kind of come in.
Mm-hmm.
And the theme comes in a little bit. And so I think that's a hat tip to what we can expect for the rest of this season.
Yeah.
My theory might be that Crimson Dawn came in and filled the power vacuum left by the Hutts. But they left Bib Fortuna as a figurehead.
Uh-huh.
And so I think Crimson Dawn is still in charge. And Boba Fett has just stepped into a world that he doesn't have any control in, and he's in over his head. And that's why everybody was kind of playing Boba Fett, because they're like, you're nothing. You're
mind blown.
Yeah, I don't think the people that jumped Boba Fett work for the mayor. I think they work for Crimson Dawn. They're enforcers. So I think.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more.
That's what I think is going on. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think the Hutts are in power on Tatooine. I think, or the Hutt structure, I should say, the structure that Jabba the Hutt set up died with Jabba the Hutt, and Crimson Dawn came in and set a new kind of structure up, and just left Bib Fortuna because he knew everyone. He knew everybody in Tatooine and Mos Espa. but I do think that everyone's playing Boba because they're just buying time until Crimson Dawn comes and takes care of Boba Fett.
Right. Damn, I love that theory, dude. Because then we're going to see Kira.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for an Emilia Clarke cameo. I'll have to make sure I wear brown pants from now on because I would love to see more of Solo, and to incorporate something like that into this would be a dream come true. I'd rather have this than a Harrison Ford deepfake, to be honest.
Right. I would hope so, man. I don't want to see a Harrison Ford deepfake. Like we said last couple of episodes, if they're going to do that, bring the dude who played him in Solo back, and everybody would be cool with it. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, I think they're going to and then they bring Emilia Clarke back. Then no, shit, never mind. What? I'm thinking Darth Maul could come back, but Darth Maul's dead at this point.
Yeah, Darth Maul's dead before A New Hope. No, yeah, right before A New Hope.
Yeah, Ben Kenobi kills him.
Maybe about 8 years before.
Yeah,
I think Luke was about 10 in that episode, Twin Sons.
Mm-hmm. And going back to the whole, I think what you were saying about the Lars homestead, that is sort of holy land for us, because whenever they show Luke in the Lars homestead and the Twin Sons, you have that French horn, that piece of music that plays in the background, and to me that's like the iconic Star Wars music. I mean, other than the themes, but you have that French horn playing that melody, and to me that is a holy moment. Not a holy moment, but it's a goosebumps moment for me.
Yeah. Without goosebumps this time, no.
Yeah, without the goosebumps, right? Because
there's no French horn,
right?
So I think that's where Book of Boba Fett's going. I think we're going to see him where he left off, as somebody who's earned the respect and can go on his own into the desert to get his armor back and to get off world, and then we'll see him dealing with thinking he's in charge, but he's not in charge.
I really dig that theory, dude. I dig that theory. So
because once you listen to it, and you don't even have to watch a lot of Solo, if you just pop it in for 5 minutes, I think it plays over the intro.
I
have it on my phone.
Are you gonna dig it out, or you want me to dig it out?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. So all in all, what did you think of it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I just didn't think it was as spectacular as the first episodes of season 1 and season 2 of The Mandalorian. I guess I was expecting something more bigger.
Right.
And we didn't get that, so I kind of felt slighted a little bit maybe, but it's still a good start, and I love the character and I love what they're doing, and I have trust in Jon Favreau. I'm going on this ride, and we'll see what happens.
That's sort of where I'm at. It didn't have the spectacularness, because like with the first episode of Mandalorian, you had the Baby Yoda reveal, which kind of left everything at a cliffhanger. This one didn't have a cliffhanger to it. Even though I enjoyed it, it wasn't a, oh my God. I was talking to Chance at Second Chance yesterday, and I'm like, it's got an oh my God moment, but it's not a oh my God moment. As I was referring to him coming out the Sarlacc pit, was, it's an important part of the story, but it's not a Baby Yoda reveal moment.
Yeah.
Yep. And I have a feeling this season's going to be a slow burn, judging by what happened there on the first episode. But you never know. But we had slow burn episodes in Mandalorian, and then you had like something that was action packed the next episode.
Yeah, I think we'll get there. I think because in the trailer we saw a speeder bike chase. So that gang that we saw at the Lars homestead, for lack of a better location right now, we're just going to call it that. That gang we see in some sort of speeder bike chase. And we also saw that lady from that last trailer on that blue Vespa looking speeder.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, she was in Destruction. Like the town that she was in was destroyed.
Yeah.
And there's also a shot of what Boba and Fennec looking down into the Rancor pit.
Yeah. Judging from what we've been told as far as what we've seen in the trailers, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more. We're going to see that dinner. We're going to see the girl. And we're going to see that Rancor pit scene this next episode.
Is that Hammerhead? There's an Ithorian.
Oh yeah.
Is that the mayor?
Maybe. What I'm hoping is we don't see Boba Fett doing a Grand Theft Auto where he's walking to everybody to, hey, I need my money.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we've established that, and now everyone's going to be like, "No, you gotta go, dude."
Yeah.
Here's the theme. It's from Solo, but every time we see Crimson Dawn, this kind of comes on, and this plays at the end of the Book of Boba Fett. So that's from Solo, a Star Wars story. And that was in the Book of Boba Fett. So you make the connection.
Yeah. And Star Wars has always been tied to the music. It takes a lot of cues from the music.
Right. You're not going to use the Empire theme if you're not going to show the Empire for, like you're not going to use the Imperial March for Ewoks, like.
Right.
There's purpose behind it. So I'm very interested based on that to see what's coming next. We got 6 episodes left?
Yeah. And we're getting 6 or 8.
There's 7 episodes total.
Oh, is there 7? Okay. Why would they do an odd number? But whatever.
I'm okay with it because to me that means that they're telling the story and they're not stretching things out more than they need to.
Right. And then I do have an interesting thought because I was talking to Chance yesterday. We got talking about other stuff, and he feels that Book of Boba is what Mandalorian was going to be, but Lucasfilm said you can't do Boba Fett. So Jon Favreau said, we've already have all the background done, so let's just change it up a little bit and make a new character. And that's how we got Mandalorian. And now they brought Boba Fett back because Mandalorian was so big. They brought Boba Fett back, and now we're getting what we should have got 2 years ago.
It's possible. I don't know if I subscribe to it, but it is entirely possible. I don't know.
It's just a thought. And then I have a feeling, I've also heard that in season 4 of The Mandalorian, they're changing the name. So we could
I've heard that too.
We could get a combination of these two shows, which may be pretty cool.
Book of Mambo?
Maybe they'll change it to Book of Mando. I don't know.
No, it'll be Mamba. Boba. Mamba. Book of Mamba.
Because there's no telling where Mandalorian's going to go because they've lost Baby Yoda. You've got Bo-Katan, and you got Mandalorian holding the Darksaber. So they've got to settle all 3 of those storylines.
Could be the Book of Bo-Katan.
Oh, dude, I'd be cool with that too. They could end up on Mandalore in the 4th season, and that'd be awesome too. Just seeing Mandalore.
The podcast of Bo-Katan. Because there is no book in Boba, as far as we know.
Right.
Anyways, it's probably life according to Boba. Maybe life according to Bo.
You have them all sitting on the couch smiling with their helmets off.
Yeah. So yeah, and this year we've got Andor. We've got possibly Mando season 3 at the end of the year. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is the thing I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
As much as I'm excited about Obi-Wan as much as I was with the movies.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to everything because I really do think the end of the year we're going to get season 3 Mandalorian because I think they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger in the Book of Boba Fett that'll end up being tied up in Mandalorian season 3.
And there was a rumor that Mando's cameoing in Book of Boba.
Why not? Why not bring all of them back? Huh?
Yeah, Cobb Vanth. Why not leverage them all back?
Do you know they're going to show Cobb Vanth? He's going to have to be there because they're going to have to show Boba Fett if they don't show Timothy Olaf, there's going to be somebody in that armor from the back, or there's going to be somebody who looks a lot of like him, and you'll just see Boba from afar, like they did with the homestead shot.
Yeah, like Boba gets trapped, or he needs to get something, and he needs to call in the big guns, and that's when Mando and Cobb Vanth come into play.
And Bo-Katan.
Like he calls in Mando, and Mando's like, "I got a guy who can help us with this."
Right. Yeah, you never know. Man,
It's
there's
cool.
so much. There's so many places they can go with this episode, and I really dig what you said about Crimson Dawn owning everything, and Bib Fortuna is just a background, figurehead. And now that Boba Fett, they're like, you're screwing everything up, Fett, and they're gonna have to deal with them.
Because Bib Fortuna was just so weak. Like he's just Snake. He doesn't have the ability. He doesn't have a backbone to run an empire like that. But if he's a figurehead and just collecting money and getting fat off of it, then I could see that being more of a possibility.
Yeah. And the way that Fett was able to just walk in there and shoot him, and now he's that. Yeah, that's always bugged me. That bugs me how he could just walk into that place and shoot Bib Fortuna, and now he's the ruler.
Yeah.
But maybe he knew a back door somewhere.
And plus, like if Bib Fortuna was backed by Crimson Dawn, everyone's like, don't mess with Bib, because then you're going to be messing with Crimson Dawn. And if Boba Fett didn't know that, there's no need for protection if you just assume you'll get in trouble with Crimson Dawn.
Right.
So that's what I think is going on. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I can't wait, dude. I'm excited because it is Boba Fett. I'm excited because it's more Star Wars content. I'm excited. I know Marvel and Star Wars are two totally different entities, but then you look at the way that they wrapped up Hawkeye and what they've been doing. Hawkeye to me was a really good show, and I think they're going to maybe end up doing the same thing with Hawkeye, where it's a slow burn, and then the last last episode and a half, they wrap everything up real fast. All of a sudden, it's like boom, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're going to be doing with Book of Boba.
Yeah. Awesome sauce.
Yeah, man. We'll see what they do next week. We'll see what Iron Maiden song it's named next episode's named after.
Well, why don't you predict?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
I don't know Iron Maiden songs. Did they do Iron Man?
No, that's
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. Maybe like Somewhere in Time, because if they're gonna do Stranger in a Strange Land, hold on, let's look up. Why am I using my phone? Let me look up, because Iron Maiden, Stranger in a Strange Land. Because Stranger in a Strange Land is actually I think it's off of Somewhere in Time. It's album Somewhere in Time. All right, because that's off the album Somewhere in Time. Come on. I should know this because I used to. The other's called Wasted Years, Stranger in a Strange Land. Track listing. There we go. So Caught Somewhere in Time, Wasted Years, Sea of Madness, Heaven Can Wait, Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner. They're not going to do that one. They already did Deja Vu, Alexander the Great. So those are the off of that album.
Alexander the Great. Yeah, we're going to go with Alexander the Great for the next episode title.
Or maybe it'll be Boba the Great or something. But
no, I mean, you got to think more Western. I would see like A Fistful of Credits or something like that would be more of a title.
Yeah.
Than Alexander the Great.
But I'll totally know. I mean, I think it'd be funny as a funny callback if they named them all Iron Maiden tunes or just went after like heavy metal songs.
Yeah.
Just in general. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Metal, I guess. So
we got like 3 more days.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Although if you're listening to this episode, then it's just tomorrow. Lucky you.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. Did you watch it with your
What?
Did you watch it with your family?
I watched it with Harrison. Harrison and I watched it together.
Yeah.
I came home after work and watched it. So
what did he think? Did he enjoy it?
Yeah, he liked it. Yeah, he likes all that stuff. So
yeah.
He's not a super fan like me, but he likes it.
Yeah, that's about like my wife. She enjoyed it, but it's not like crazy. So what were you gonna do?
I was gonna do the wrap up.
Do it.
Spiel now written out, so I don't have to forget it. So thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could leave a like and review of the show anywhere you listen to your podcasts, Apple or Spotify is doing that now. We appreciate that. It helps people find us. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you go on social media. Subscribe, like, follow us so you always know what's going on. On Facebook and YouTube, we kind of post a video at times of previews of the show. So this week you'll see the lights behind me. So if you want to see that, go ahead and like our Facebook page. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo and Levi Waterhouse for the Smugglers Galaxy music. Be a positive force in the collecting community if at all possible, and this is the way.
This is the way.